You bring home a healthy plant, give it plenty of water, and wait. But within weeks, the leaves start turning yellow and growth stalls out entirely. Most people reach for a bottle of bright liquid fertilizer, poured on with the hope that the plant will bounce back. But the problem usually isn't a lack of chemicals, it's a basic misunderstanding of how roots actually work. Plants don't grow in dirt. Dirt is just gray, sterile rock dust. For a plant to thrive, it needs soil, an ecosystem teeming with life and microscopic activity. Synthetic fertilizers bypass this entire system. They force-feed the plant directly, providing a short-term boost while the surrounding biology starves. Over time, that biological network collapses, the ground packs into a dense, solid block, and the garden becomes entirely dependent on the next bottle of chemicals. Nature doesn't use bottled nutrients. Look at a forest floor. Without human intervention, plants thrive because organic matter falls, decays, and feeds billions of soil microbes. Those microbes process the decay and return water-soluble nutrients back to the plants in a continuous, closed loop. You can restart that biological engine in your own backyard. You don't need a lab. The materials required to transform your soil are currently sitting in your kitchen trash can. A healthy compost pile balances nitrogen-rich greens, like vegetable scraps, with carbon-heavy browns, like dry leaves. Microbes consume this mixture, transforming it into dark organic matter. This matter physically reshapes the ground, pushing apart packed clay for oxygen and binding loose sand to retain water. If managing a hot compost pile is too labor-intensive, you can use leaf mold. Instead of a fast, heat-driven microbial cycle, leaf mold relies entirely on fungi to slowly break down autumn leaves over a year or two. While it lacks the high nutrient density of compost, it acts as an extreme biological sponge. Adding leaf mold to your garden drastically increases its water-holding capacity, keeping roots hydrated during intense summer heat waves. Without this physical structure opening the earth to water and air, the roots will eventually suffocate. Any specific nutrients you add later will simply wash away untouched. Once the physical structure is set, you can address specific chemical needs. For example, if you see the bottom of your peppers or tomatoes rotting before they ripen, you're likely dealing with blossom end rot, a sign the plant can't access enough calcium to build strong cell walls. Many gardeners toss crushed eggshells into the dirt to fix this, but they overlook the timeline. Whole or roughly crushed eggshells take years to decompose. If your tomatoes need calcium today, chunks of shell won't become available until long after the growing season ends. Soil microbes ignore large fragments. By pulverizing the shells into a fine powder, you increase the surface area 1,000-fold. This allows the bacteria to process the mineral immediately and feed it directly to the roots. Coffee grounds are equally misunderstood. They're often framed as either a miracle nitrogen source or a garden killer, but the reality is more nuanced. The danger is physical. Coffee grounds are extremely fine and acidic. If you dump thick layers of them around a plant, they dry out and lock together into a water-repellent crust. This suffocates the soil and blocks moisture from reaching the roots. Wood ash is another powerful tool, used to inject potassium and raise the pH of acidic soils. Because it is highly concentrated, it should be treated like a heavy seasoning rather than the main meal. A light dusting from clean firewood is effective, but over-application creates toxic alkaline conditions that burn sensitive roots. These kitchen scraps are effective chemical tweaks, but they demand moderation and preparation. They support the foundation, but they can't replace it. Beyond the chemistry lies the biology. Healthy soil requires billions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa, to function as the garden's digestive system, recycling organic waste into usable plant food. To introduce these organisms quickly, gardeners use compost tea. Stripped of the magic potion myths, this is simply a liquid delivery system. By soaking finished compost in aerated water, you multiply the beneficial microbes and can pour them directly onto the earth to inoculate the system. This microscopic life cannot survive if the surface is exposed. In nature, the ground is always covered in a thick blanket of debris. To protect your garden's ecosystem, you need a biological roof, a layer of mulch like grass clippings or shredded leaves. While compost tea jumpstarts the underground activity, a layer of mulch defends it from the sun and wind. preventing evaporation and locking your ecosystem in place. None of these household boosters provide the instant, artificial spike of a heavy chemical fertilizer. Organic gardening is a patient process. It relies on layering these small biological improvements over multiple seasons until the soil itself becomes self-sustaining. When you build this underground machine, the system handles the distribution of nutrients for you. You are no longer feeding the plant, you are maintaining the environment that feeds it. The foundation for this entire ecosystem is currently sitting in your kitchen. It just takes a little patience and the right preparation to put it to work. Once the soil is alive, the next challenge is keeping it that way. In the next video, we're looking at the invisible watering mistakes that quietly destroy plants during the peak of summer. Click here to learn how to keep your garden